Excuse me, Councilor Overton.
Thank you. Thank you all for coming. I always enjoy listening to different points of view. And as you know, I'm very respectful to all points of view and you know, whether I agree with them or not. And of course, sometimes you don't agree with me. As everybody knows, I am a very strong constitutionalist. I believe in the US Constitution. I believe in the Bill of Rights. Because if followed, it guarantees that Americans will always be a free people. But what is not protected under the First Amendment is child pornography and pedophilia. And for this reason, I am going to support the resolution because I do not believe that images of child pornography or images of pedophilia have any place in the hands of minors. Thank you.
Councilors? Councilor Cordio, please.
I want to thank everybody for speaking and particularly thank the librarians. And for the people that left, if you're watching at home, thank you for coming and speaking. All of you that spoke, I would say, keep this fight up. We will decide what we're doing with this resolution, but this fight is going on in Providence. Whether we support it or not, we could vote that, no, we're not supporting this. It's still going on in Providence. And you all did a fantastic job making your case here tonight. And I applaud you. And I will not be supporting this. And I wouldn't have supported it even without you. But I do want to thank you. It's wonderful to see people come out. I want to wish everyone a happy Pride Month.
Councilor Logan, please.
I want to thank everybody for coming out here tonight and for voicing their comments and their concerns. I don't want people to think my brevity and my comments denotes any kind of lack of seriousness about any of the topics that were talked about. We've all been here for a very long time, though. About H 3624, actually both 3624 and rights of way issues. I think the common through line that we all have here tonight is that we're talking about infringement on our rights as citizens of this town. And there's nothing that brings people out clearly like believing that their rights are being infringed upon by somebody else. And that's what we're dealing with here in both of these issues, whether you're talking about First Amendment rights, rights to books, rights to media, or you're talking about beach access. And this turned into an incredible town hall, an incredible display of the values that are at work in this town. And I really appreciate each and every person who came forward to be a part of that, because we don't often get forums like this where we get to understand who we are as a community, what we stand for. And I think you all made it very, very clear tonight who you are and what you want Westerly to be. And I am so heartened by what I saw tonight in each and every speaker. I'm gonna say maybe not each and every speaker, but most of the speakers. Because I'm incredibly, and actually I will say every speaker, because everybody has their passion for this community, and everybody has the ability and the right to come and express themselves. And I thought one side was much more persuasive than the other. So I absolutely would not support H 3624 in any forum. I just wanted to to give us that context, I know Mr. Tarbax had asked me about how I would feel as a performer. There were a couple of things that were not brought up as potential consequences of this bill. It's burlesque performances, drag performances, theater, not just music. There are a whole variety of performances that could be affected by this. Movies potentially, we don't know what the second and third order effects of this really vague and ill-considered legislation might be. I'll leave it there. We've had a long night. We still have to talk about this again some more.
Councilors? Go ahead. Mayor? Oh, Councilor Ayala, excuse me.
I'll keep it brief. If we end up talking about some of these later on, I'll get into more comments. I was making a lot of notes on both my papers. First, I want to thank everybody for coming. I did learn some things tonight from a lot of people. And I want you to know from my perspective, I take things very seriously and from every side, and I will listen to everyone. And I'm plainly not ready to vote on this type of resolution tonight. There, more questions came up, and I'm going to have some legal questions for the solicitor on some issues that were raised and some things in my reading of the current bill and the current state statute and the proposed bill. I have some questions on it. And to be quite frank, there are some things that I do support in it. And there are some things that maybe I don't, and I have questions on and I need answers to before I do. And I can take the jokes about, the white-haired white guy or whatever you want to do. It doesn't impact me, But anybody who knows me knows me. If you don't, reach out to me and I'm glad to meet you for a coffee and we can get to know each other. And I hope Jason's laughing at me and not. Okay. So, but I want you to know that I do take this very seriously and I have questions and I want questions answered before I would support sending this type of resolution. And by the way, I don't think this resolution would carry a lot of weight at the state. And that is actually where whichever side you're on, you really need to take the fight and explain to them. And I'm not saying I won't support a resolution. I'm not ready tonight because I don't think I'm going to be able to get the answers I need tonight. And I'm just being straight with you. And again, reach out to me anytime. I'm happy to meet with you and talk to you and learn more. I did learn some things about the library issue, public libraries, school libraries, and from the general public, I learned things from you. And so I do take it very seriously. Thank you very much for coming and expressing your views.
Mayor? Councilor Cialabo, please.
I just want to thank everybody for coming out. I appreciate the passion. I understand both sides of the story. The biggest concern I have with the bill H6324 is really the definition of obscene and objectionable. We all have our own opinions of what is obscene and objectionable, and we all have our own rights to choose whether we want to see it or not see it. I appreciate everybody's passion. I appreciate everybody's thoughts and what they say. And again, I do understand both sides of the coin, but for me, I can't follow through with this. I don't agree with it. Thank you all for taking your time and being here.
Thank you. I guess that comes to me then. I appreciate everyone for being here. We've been here a little while and your opinions mean a great deal to me. I will not be supporting this resolution and I'll tell you why. Because I believe as a parent, a successful parent, thank God, and a successful grandparent, it is my job, it was my job, and it is my children's job to raise my grandchildren. I raised them. And it was my job to oversee what they were reading and what they were doing and what they were saying and with whom they hung out. The bane of our existence is right here. Because I don't care if you burn every book in every library. If they want to see it, they will find it. And I'm sorry that resolution is here at all. Because as has been mentioned by more than one speaker, this is a legislative matter. And I believe that the legislature will deal with it at whatever time they feel appropriate and at whatever level they feel appropriate. I don't see this legislation moving quickly through the both chambers of the General Assembly. But again, we'll get to this shortly, and thank you all for being here. New business. Okay, this is the resolution in support of House Bill H 6324 entitled An Act Relating to Criminal Offenses, Obscene and Objectionable Publication and Shows, Discussion and a Possible Action. We have already entered into.
Motion to approve.
Let me just say, we have already entered into the record the names provided regarding discussion concerning H 6324 from the public. I have a motion and a second, a motion by Councilor Overton and a second by Councilor LaPetra to approve the resolution. Discussion. Excuse me, Councilor Cordio, please.
I'd like to make a motion to amend this to read in opposition of this bill.
I don't think that's necessary, Councilor. Either we vote for or against the resolution. I'm not understanding. Go ahead.
If we vote against the resolution, it dies. If we amend it, it's going up to the State House. And we'll be letting the State House know that the town of Westerly opposes 6324.
Councilor Conley, Mr. Conley. Bill, it's their resolution, not ours, right?
It's not resolution, it's their bill.
It's their bill, excuse me. I'm sorry. Yes, it's their bill. Okay. Bill,
Yes, I'm looking at the resolution. Now, I understand the
Yeah, okay.
motion would change the title of the resolution to resolution to oppose House Bill 6324.
and just leave it at that.
And we would.
There's one other spot that
Yeah,
wording
I'm
would need
looking
to be
for
changed.
Where else?
Yeah,
You would need to do
It would
that.
be whereas the town of Wesley wishes to express its support. Where it says the first whereas, Joy, the second one, I'm sorry, fourth
In the
whereas.
resolution. Yeah, and then in the third, whereas it close, so. In every instance where the resolution states in support. Without
put opposition.
opposes, is that the amendment? Right,
That would be the amendment, right, Joy?
Yes,
Yeah, I mean, doesn't it mean, I mean,
so,
there's three spots where one word will be changed.
um,
then it says pass, Joy. Where resolved, it says resolved.
Be it further resolved that a copy of this
No,
resolution.
no, excuse me. The first resolved that the town
Yeah.
council of the town of Wesley urges the Rhode Island House of Representatives to pass and enact law. See what I'm saying?
Okay, so overturn.
you'd probably want
Or-
to delete that, right?
I'm sorry, ma'am.
No.
We had discussion on this before for the public.
Mr. President,
Yes, ma'am, don't make me call you out of order, please.
just another comment on
Thank
that.
you.
It's just, it seems rather substantive to me.
It does to
And,
me too.
and
That's
it-
right.
I don't think it's
Yeah,
giving, I don't think it's giving the public fair and adequate notice.
So, right, that's what I'm trying to, that's kind of what I'm struggling with, Counselor, is if we do that, it really does mean we've got to change a lot of the text of the ordinance as
Right.
well. And the resolution is not subject to a public hearing, but it is a substantive change. You would need to change the text, and I am concerned about the notice issue for something is that different? But I understand what you're trying, you know, the. purpose of the
Amendments
amendment.
are perfectly acceptable.
Yeah.
I will withdraw my motion to amend and we can vote on the
Cover that.
resolution as it is.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So we have a motion and a second to approve the resolution. Further discussion? Counselor Aiello.
I had a lot of questions, but I think four of you have already indicated you're not going to support it. It just to go over a few things. Because I did mention earlier that I had some comments and questions. For 11-31-1, the first section of this bill, it deals with every person who willfully or knowingly promotes for the purpose of commercial gain. So the whole section deals with that. And then, so the only thing they were really adding for that was including maybe in cartoon or animated form for that section. The second section, I had, that's where more of my questions came. And so for 11-31-10, sale or exhibition to minors of indecent publications, pictures, or articles. The first line after that, paragraph A. Every person who shall willfully or knowingly engage in the business of selling, et cetera, et cetera. Now, maybe the solicitor can answer this question. Willfully or knowingly engage in the business of selling, are they talking about actual businesses? Or are they talking about the process of doing this? Like conducting operations, or are they talking actual business?
The statute does use the word you're in the business. I mean, I would, without any legislative history on it, I would construe that to mean exactly what it
Like an
says.
actual business?
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
And then down further on same, I don't know, you're scrolling. So line 14. It says lacking serious literary, artistic, political, or scientific value for minors. Scientific value, would health or physiology related classes be covered in that definition? Would a health class or physiology class or something be covered in that?
You know, that language is essentially taken from the Berger decision, you know, the Berger opinion. Goes back a long time ago, whether or not that opinion contemplated. I mean, I don't know, and I haven't done research on the cases I think there's certainly a common sense argument you could say that it lies within that, or, you know, not without checking the legal, but I have not researched that.
And I asked that because they brought up questions about, you know, health and, you know,
Sure.
teaching. And then on line 23 in that same section, it says the provisions of this section shall apply. This is one of the added things in the bill. The provisions of the section shall apply to any library pursuant to Chapter 1 of Title 29, which by the way deals with the state library. I just looked it up. And any public or charter school library. So one of my questions is when it says and any public or charter school library, is that saying public library, or does it mean public school library?
Public
or
school.
Public schools, all right, so we're not talking public libraries.
I would read that to mean public schools.
Public schools.
Yes.
So the Westerly Library and other public libraries wouldn't really be affected by this, you know. I would have concerns about trying to dictate to a public library what they can or can't do. so it reads to you, public or charter school. Public
Yes.
school or charter school. That's the way it reads to you.
Yes,
Okay.
Counsel.
So, and just to clarify, I didn't read anything in here where it would prevent a parent or a guardian from obtaining any material for their children, regardless of what it is. I don't think the current statute or the proposal prevents any or criminalizes any action by a parent. If a parent hopefully they're not giving them anything, but, this doesn't prohibit a parent from checking out a book or buying something, that's rated at a higher age level and giving it to their children. I don't,
No, it's rather than the activity of the parent, it's aimed at more of the content. And identifies the public and charter schools. It doesn't.
Yeah.
Address any.
yeah,
Correct.
in the first section, I think just covered commercial type.
Yeah.
Activities. All right, and, yeah, we all heard the thing about the average person. And some people brought up the thought about the desensitizing the youth and whether it's books or these electronic devices, they are getting desensitized to quite a bit at a younger age and getting exposed to a lot more. So you already answered that question about the parents, and it sounded like, based upon these comments that people talked about Supreme Court definitions and cases and such, it seems like the state law mimics essentially some of what the Supreme Court, or at least one or more of the justices have
Yeah.
said.
This legislation goes back
Yeah,
a long way, yeah, and so it appears that at the time it was written to try to conform to or use language from that Warren Burger decision, kind of a famous case, but there's been a lot of cases since then. I haven't researched it.
all right, and just as a general comment, and I think we've all seen it on TV or other places that, I mean, the White House, Congress, big tech, they're all wrestling with the whole internet issue and exposure to kids, not just for obscene type related issues, but also indoctrination and violence and terror related, reaching out to vulnerable youth who may be vulnerable and don't have a lot of life experiences, and getting them to do certain things or join certain groups. So I have a lot of concerns. I think I could support a resolution, but I would want this tweaked a little bit. Modify some of the language in it. So I would support something if it came back reworded. But as four of you indicated, I don't think it's going to get that far tonight. So I think there are a lot of like I said, I support a lot, but there are some unanswered questions or not that would need research before I could vote. So if you're gonna put the vote out tonight, I'll be abstaining because I need more answers. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. I'm sorry, did you have a question? Okay, we have a vote, we have a motion and a second to approve. Just further discussion?
Yeah, again, I would like to reiterate that child pornography and pedophilia is not protected by the First Amendment. Thank you.
Thank you, Counselor. Further discussion? Poll vote, please. Counselor Aiello,
Abstain.
Counselor Cordio. Thank you. There's a no. Counselor Lothar. No. Counselor Petra.
Yes.
Counselor Overton.
Yes.
Counselor Cialaba.
No,
And the chair votes no. By 4, 2, and 1, the motion is defeated.